I always thought my father was different from other dads. Growing up, he'd tell me that family came first, no matter what. Guess that was just another one of his lies. My name is Callie, and I was 17 when my father decided to blow up our lives. It happened on a Tuesday, which seems wrong somehow. Life-changing moments should happen on more dramatic days, like stormy Sundays or mysterious Fridays. But no, it was just a regular Tuesday afternoon when I came home from school to find my mom sitting at our kitchen table, staring at a piece of paper like it might bite her. "Mom?" I dropped my backpack by the door. She didn't look up. "Mom, what's wrong?" The kitchen smelled like burnt coffee, and I noticed the pot had boiled dry. Mom never let that happen. She was always perfectly put together, the successful optometrist who managed her own clinic while somehow making it to every one of my art shows. She held out the letter with trembling fingers. "Your father left this." My stomach dropped. I took the paper, noticing how expensive it felt. Dad always did like the finer things in life. The letter was typed, not handwritten, which somehow made it worse. "Dear Meredith and Callie," I read aloud, my voice getting shakier with each word. "I've realized I can no longer continue living this life. The pressures of maintaining our lifestyle, the constant expectations. I need something simpler. I'm sorry, but I have to do what's best for me. I'll have my lawyer contact you about arrangements." I stopped reading. The rest was just details about money and accounts, cold and businesslike. Like we were some corporation he was divesting from, not his family. "He didn't even sign it," I whispered. Mom finally looked up at me, her eyes red-rimmed but dry. "He took most of his things this morning after we left." I thought he was going to work. I ran upstairs to their bedroom. Mom's bedroom now, I guess. The closet door stood open, showing empty spaces where Dad's designer suits used to hang. His dresser drawers were pulled out, half empty like someone had ransacked them. On his nightstand, there was a single photo left behind, the three of us at my 16th birthday, all smiles and perfect poses. Picture-perfect family. My phone buzzed. A text from Dad. "I'm sorry, Princess. Sometimes people need to change. You'll understand when you're older." I wanted to throw my phone against the wall. Princess. His special nickname for me since I was little. Now it felt like another lie. "He's not answering my calls," Mom said from the doorway. She looked lost, standing there in her professional dress and heels. The clinic called. "I have patients waiting, but I'll call and reschedule them," I said, already pulling up the clinic's number. "You should rest, Mom." She nodded absently, then turned and walked away. I heard her bedroom door close softly. That's when I noticed something odd. Dad's laptop was still on his desk, which wasn't like him at all. He guarded that thing like it held state secrets. The screen was dark, but when I moved the mouse, it lit up. He hadn't logged out. His email was still open, and right there at the top was a message from someone named Tessa Monroe. The preview showed just enough. "Everything's ready for your new life. Can't wait to." I clicked it, but a password prompt appeared. Of course. But now I knew there was more to Dad's simpler life story. Much more. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Dad. "Don't try to contact me for a while. I need space to figure things out." I typed back. "Sure thing, Dad. Take all the space you need. Just remember, you taught me that family comes first. And you also taught me how to hold a grudge." Then I blocked his number and started planning. The next few weeks felt like walking through fog. Mom threw herself into work, seeing patients from sunrise to sunset. Maybe she thought if she kept moving, kept smiling at strangers and fixing their vision, she wouldn't have to face how broken our own lives had become. I was doing my calculus homework at the clinic's reception desk when Mrs. Chin, our longtime receptionist, touched my shoulder. "Callie, honey, your mother hasn't come out of her office for 3 hours. The waiting room is full." I looked up to see 6 irritated patients checking their watches. Mom had never run this late before. Never. "I'll check on her," I said, already dreading what I might find. Through the frosted glass of her office door, I could see Mom's silhouette. She was just sitting there, staring at her computer screen. I knocked softly. "Dr. Harper? Your 3 o'clock is waiting." Using her professional title felt wrong, but I needed to snap her out of whatever this was. When she didn't respond, I went in. The office smelled stale, like coffee gone cold and unopened mail. Mom's usually immaculate desk was cluttered with patient files. Her makeup was perfect, but her eyes were vacant. "Mom?" I touched her arm. "What's wrong?" She blinked, like she was coming out of a trance. "Oh, I was just reviewing some insurance claims." She gestured vaguely at her screen, which was showing Dad's Facebook page. It was empty. He'd deleted everything. "The Chin family is waiting. They drove an hour to get here." "Right, of course." She stood up, smoothing her lab coat. "I just need a minute to." Her voice trailed off as she stared at a framed photo on her wall, her and Dad at their medical school graduation. Young and in love, before he decided plastic surgery was more lucrative than family medicine. "I'll reschedule the afternoon appointments," I said. "You should go home." "No." The sharpness in her voice made me step back. "No, I'm fine. I can't let people down. I can't be like—" She didn't finish, but we both knew what she meant. Like him. That evening, I was making dinner when our doorbell rang. I opened it to find my grandparents, Evelyn and Walter, standing there with concerned faces and casserole dishes. "We brought dinner," Grandma said, pushing past me into the kitchen. "Where's your mother?" "Still at the clinic. She's been working late." Grandpa set down his dish and fixed me with a serious look. "And how are you holding up, kiddo?" I started to say, "Fine," but my voice cracked. Grandpa pulled me into a hug, and for a moment, I let myself be small again, let someone else be the strong one. "We know about the missed appointments," Grandma said, opening our fridge and frowning at its empty shelves. "And the unreturned calls to the insurance company. Your mother's practice can't run itself." "I'm handling it," I said, pulling away from Grandpa. "I've been learning the billing system, and Mrs. Chin is helping me with the scheduling." "You're 17, Grandma said sharply. "You should be worrying about prom and college applications, not running a medical practice." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Your father asked me to check on you. Hope you're doing okay. Tessa." The casserole dish slipped from my hands, shattering on the floor. Grandma rushed over, but I barely noticed the mess. "Callie?" Grandpa's voice seemed far away. "What is it?" I showed them the text. Grandma's face hardened. "Tessa Monroe. That little—" She caught herself. She was his assistant at the surgery center, always hanging around, asking about our family vacations, our finances. "How long?" I asked. "She started working for him about 8 months ago." 8 months. The same time Dad started staying late at the office, started questioning our lifestyle choices, started pulling away. My phone buzzed again. "Tessa, he misses you. Maybe we could meet for coffee?" I typed back, "Thanks for checking in. Quick question. Did he buy you that Cartier bracelet before or after he decided he needed a simpler life?" I deleted the message without sending it. Instead, I smiled and saved her number. Sometimes revenge requires patience. And I had all the time in the world. It's funny how the truth always comes out in the most ordinary places. For me, it was at Riverside Coffee, where I'd been camping out with my laptop, digging through Dad's financial records. Being the family's unofficial accountant had its perks, like still having access to all his passwords. That's when I saw them. Dad and Tessa were sitting at a corner table, his hand resting on hers. So much for his simpler life story. He looked different, wearing jeans and a casual shirt instead of his usual tailored suits. She was laughing at something he'd said, twirling her hair with her free hand. The same hand that wore a Cartier bracelet I recognized from Dad's credit card statements, listed as a business expense. I felt sick, but I forced myself to stay put. They hadn't noticed me behind my laptop screen. I started recording on my phone, just in case. "The transfer went through," Tessa said, loud enough for me to hear. "But Lucas, are you sure about selling the beach house? Meredith's name is still on the deed." Dad leaned forward. "It's being handled. The lawyer says since I've been paying the taxes and maintenance solely from my personal account for the past 5 years, I can make a case for full ownership. The beach house. Mom's favorite place in the world, where she'd spent every summer growing up, where she'd always talked about retiring. I just worry, Tessa continued, about Callie finding out. She's been poking around the accounts. Dad's face darkened. She's too young to understand. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. The money from the sale will set up our new life, give us the fresh start we need. I'd heard enough. Standing up, I walked straight to their table. Hey, Dad. Tessa. Having a simple lunch? They jumped apart like guilty teenagers. Dad's face went from shock to angry to that fake calm he used with difficult patience. Princess, he started, but I cut him off. Don't. My voice was steady, surprising even me. Just don't. You know what's funny? I actually believed you when you said you needed to find yourself. That this was about simplifying your life. It is, he insisted. You don't understand the pressure I've been under. The pressure of hiding your girlfriend? Or the pressure of figuring out how to steal Mom's beach house? Tessa stood up, grabbing her designer purse. I should go. Stay, I said. You're family now, right? That's what the joint bank account means? The one you opened 3 months before Dad left. Dad's face went pale. How did you? I'm not stupid, Dad. I'm just thorough. Like you taught me to be. I pulled out my phone, showing them the recording app. Mom's lawyer will love hearing about your plans for the beach house. Callie, his voice turned pleading, let's discuss this privately. Like adults. Adults? I laughed. Adults don't abandon their families. Adults don't steal their wife's inheritance. And adults definitely don't expense their girlfriend's jewelry as business costs. People were staring now. Tessa grabbed her coat, practically running for the door. Dad stood up, reaching for my arm, but I stepped back. Don't touch me. Ever again. I gathered my things, hands shaking. Oh, and Dad? Remember when you taught me about karma? About how everything comes back around eventually? He froze, recognition dawning in his eyes. It was the same thing he'd said to me when I was 12, after catching me in a lie about breaking his expensive camera. Watch your back, I said softly. Everything comes back around. Outside, the air felt too thick to breathe. My phone buzzed, a text from Tessa. We should talk. There's more you need to know. I smiled, remembering Grandma's words about patience. Sometimes revenge isn't about grand gestures. Sometimes it's about slowly, methodically, taking apart someone's carefully constructed lies, piece by piece. I texted back, coffee tomorrow? Same place. Bring the bank statements. Then I called Mom's lawyer. It was time to stop playing defense. Dad wanted a simpler life? Fine. By the time I was done, that's exactly what he'd have. The envelope from the Rhode Island School of Design sat unopened on my desk for 3 days. Full scholarship. My dream school. Everything I'd worked for since I first picked up a paintbrush. And I couldn't open it. You're being ridiculous, Grandma Evelyn said, watching me stare at the envelope during our weekly dinner. This is your future we're talking about. I pushed my untouched lasagna around my plate. Mom needs me here. The clinic. The clinic needs a professional office manager, Grandpa Walter interrupted, not a 17-year-old trying to be both student and savior. Mom looked up from her wine glass. She'd barely touched her food too. What clinic? The silence that followed was deafening. It was the first time she'd acknowledged the reality of her practice's slow collapse. I've got it under control, I said quickly. Mrs. Chin and I have been. No. Mom's voice was sharp. Show me the books. I pulled up the clinic's accounts on my laptop. The screen reflected in Mom's glasses as she scrolled through months of missed insurance payments, canceled appointments, and mounting debt. Oh God, she whispered. How did I let this happen? It's not your fault, I started, but she held up her hand. When did the warning letters start? I hesitated. 3 months ago. But I've been negotiating with. 3 months. She stood up so suddenly her chair tipped over. You've been handling this alone for 3 months? Someone had to. The words burst out before I could stop them. You were barely functioning. Dad left us with nothing but debt and lies, and someone had to keep things from falling apart. That someone shouldn't have been you. Mom's voice cracked. You're supposed to be thinking about college, about art school, about... She gestured at the RISD envelope. I can defer for a year, I said. Help get the clinic back on track. Like hell you will. Grandpa pulled out his checkbook. We're hiring a proper office manager tomorrow. And you're going to open that envelope. We don't need charity, Mom and I said simultaneously. Grandma slammed her hand on the table. Enough. This isn't charity, it's family. And family doesn't let pride destroy dreams. She fixed Mom with a stern look. Or practices. My phone buzzed. A text from Tessa. Meeting your father's lawyer tomorrow. He's trying to force the beach house sale. I have proof he falsified documents. Interested? Another buzz. This time from Dad. Callie, whatever Tessa tells you is a lie. She's trying to extort money from me. Please don't trust her. I looked up to find everyone staring at me. What? Your hands are shaking, Grandma said softly. I showed them the texts. Mom's face went white. The beach house? But that's been in my family for generations, Grandpa finished. And it's staying that way. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling our lawyer. No, I said, surprising myself. Let me handle this. Absolutely not, Mom said. You're done being the adult here. Mom, I have recordings. Bank statements. Proof of what he's done. But Tessa will only talk to me. I met her eyes. Trust me. Please. The room fell silent. Finally, Mom picked up the RISD envelope and handed it to me. Open it. But, open it. Because whatever happens with your father, whatever happens with the clinic, you are not sacrificing your future. Not for him, not for me, not for anyone. My hands trembled as I tore open the envelope. Full scholarship. Starting this fall. I looked at my phone again, at the competing texts from Dad and Tessa. Then at my family around the table. Mom, Grandma, Grandpa, all watching me with love and worry. Okay, I said. Here's what we're going to do. I'm meeting Tessa tomorrow. We're saving the beach house. We're fixing the clinic. And then, I held up the acceptance letter. Then I'm going to art school. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying someone else's life. Sometimes it's about refusing to let them destroy yours. Tessa chose an upscale restaurant for our meeting, probably expecting Dad to foot the bill like usual. Instead, she found me waiting with Mom's lawyer. Patricia Chen, Mrs. Chen's daughter, and the last person anyone would want to cross in a legal battle. This wasn't the arrangement, Tessa said, clutching her designer purse like a shield. Neither was stealing my mother's beach house, I replied, gesturing to the empty chair. Sit. She sat, her perfect makeup not quite hiding the shadows under her eyes. Lucas will be furious. Lucas isn't here. Patricia opened her laptop. But his financial records are. Along with some very interesting emails about property transfers and backdated documents. Tessa's fingers drummed nervously on the table. I could lose everything. Funny, I said, that's exactly what you helped him do to us. The waiter approached, but Patricia waved him away. This wasn't a social call. He promised we'd start fresh, Tessa said, her voice small. No baggage, no complications. Just a simple life together. I laughed, the sound harsh even to my own ears. Simple? Is that what you call draining my college fund? Or forging Mom's signature on the beach house papers? I didn't know about the college fund, she whispered. He said all the money was his. Show her, Patricia said. I pulled out my phone, playing the recording from the coffee shop. Tessa's face crumpled as she heard herself discussing the beach house scheme. That's inadmissible, she said weakly. In court, maybe. Patricia smiled. But the forensic accountant's report? The falsified documents? Those are very admissible. My phone buzzed. Dad. I declined the call, but the text started immediately. Where's Tessa? What are you doing? Don't do anything stupid, Princess. Princess? The word felt like acid now. He's going to know I talked to you, Tessa said, reaching for her purse. Good. I placed a folder on the table. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to sign these papers, admitting to your role in the financial fraud. Then you're going to tell us everything. Every account, every scheme, every lie. And if I don't? Patricia leaned forward. Then instead of just losing Lucas, you'll lose your freedom. Financial fraud carries serious prison time. Tessa's hand shook as she reached for the papers. He'll never forgive me. That's the point. I watched her sign. He needs to learn that actions have consequences. My phone kept buzzing. Dad was calling everyone now. Mom, my grandparents, even Mrs. Chin at the clinic. The desperation in his messages grew. Please, Princess, let's talk about this. I can explain everything. Don't destroy what I've built. What he'd built. Like we were just collateral damage in his grand plan. There's something else, Tessa said, pulling out her own folder. Something he doesn't know I kept. Inside were more documents, bank transfers, emails, plans dating back over a year. Dad hadn't just abandoned us on a whim. He'd been planning it, methodically dismantling our financial security while building his escape route. Why? I asked, my voice cracking. Why show me this? Tessa met my eyes for the first time. Because he's doing the same thing to me now. There's another woman, younger, simpler. No complicated history. She laughed bitterly. I'm just last month's model. The restaurant door burst open. Dad stood there, face red, designer suit askew. What have you done? I stood up, Patricia beside me. Only what you taught me, Dad. Family comes first, remember? I'm just protecting what's left of mine. His face contorted. By destroying me? Your own father. No, I said quietly. You did that yourself. One lie at a time. As security led him out, I watched the man who'd taught me about karma learn its hardest lesson. Sometimes the simplest life is the one you're running from. The news about Dad's arrest broke on a Sunday morning. By Monday, his face was everywhere, local papers, social media, even the morning news. Prominent plastic surgeon accused of financial fraud. They used his most flattering headshot, of course. Image was always everything to him. I was in the beach house, sorting through old photos when Mom called. He's asking to see you, she said. Says he'll sign everything over, no contest, if you'll just meet with him. I stared at a photo in my hands, Dad teaching me to swim right here at this beach. His hands steady and sure under my small body as I learned to float. No, Callie. Mom hesitated. The police found something in his office. Letters. Drawings. They think you should see them. The photos slipped from my fingers. What drawings? An hour later, I sat in an interrogation room, staring at a familiar sketchbook. My sketchbook. The one that had disappeared years ago, filled with my earliest attempts at art. But mixed in with my childish drawings were others. Detailed, beautiful sketches signed LH. He copied them, I whispered. Detective Martinez shook her head. According to the dates, his came first. By several years. The room felt too small suddenly. Each page showed the same subjects I'd drawn. The beach house, Mom's garden, our family dog. But Dad's versions came before mine, some dated before I was even born. There's more, Martinez said, sliding over an envelope. Inside were letters, dozens of them, never sent, spanning my entire childhood. Dear Princess, one read, today you drew your first real picture. I pretended to be surprised, but I've been waiting for this moment. Art runs in our blood, even if I never had the courage to pursue it. Maybe you'll be braver than I was. The words blurred as tears filled my eyes. Each letter marked a milestone, my first art show, my college applications, my acceptance to RISD. He'd been watching, documenting, sharing his secret passion through silent pages. My phone buzzed. Tessa, he's being released on bail. But there's something else you need to know. About why he really left. I ignored it. Another buzz. This time from an unknown number. Your father's medical license is under review. Without character witnesses, he'll lose everything. Hospital board. The final letter in the pile was dated the day he left. Dear Princess, I've spent my life running from who I really am. Built a perfect facade while suffocating inside. You're braver than I ever was, pursuing your art, living authentically. I can't bear to let my failures taint your future. Better to leave now than watch you become like me, trapped in a life built on lies. He's waiting outside, Martinez said softly. Should I send him in? I looked at the drawings again, his and mine, side by side. 2 generations of artists, one who fled and one who fought. No, I said, standing up. Not yet. Outside, Dad sat on a bench, head bowed. No designer suit now, just wrinkled clothes and 3 days of stubble. He looked up as I passed, but I kept walking. My phone buzzed again. Tessa, he didn't leave because of me. He left because of the art scholarship he secretly set up for you. The money he stole, it was all for your future. He just couldn't face telling you the truth about his own abandoned dreams. I stopped, my hand on my car door. The truth about revenge is that it's easy when you can paint someone as a villain. Much harder when you see their humanity, their brokenness, their reflection in your own mirror. But some broken things, once shattered, can never be made whole again. Can they? My phone buzzed one last time. Dad, I never deserved to be your father. But I'm proud that you became the artist I was too afraid to be. I got in my car and drove away, leaving him on that bench. Sometimes the hardest part of revenge isn't executing it, it's deciding whether you still want to. The call came at midnight. Grandma and Grandpa's car had skidded on black ice. They never made it to the hospital. I stood in their empty house 3 days later, surrounded by memories and the weight of unexpected inheritance. Mom was in the kitchen, going through papers with Patricia, while I wandered rooms that still smelled like Grandma's perfume. That's when I found it, a letter addressed to me, written in Grandpa's shaky hand just weeks before. Dearest Callie, your father came to see us last month. He told us everything. About the art scholarship fund he'd been secretly building for you, about his own abandoned dreams, about his fear of becoming his father. We didn't tell you because it wasn't our story to tell. But remember, revenge is a circle that never closes. Forgiveness is the only way forward. Love, Grandpa. My phone buzzed. Dad, I heard about your grandparents. I'm at the beach house. Please come. I showed Mom the text. She looked at the inheritance papers, then at me. Whatever you decide, I'll support you. The beach house lights were on when I arrived. Dad sat on the porch steps, holding something wrapped in brown paper. Before you say anything, he started, but I cut him off. Why didn't you tell me about the art fund? He looked down at the package in his hands. Because I was ashamed. Not of you, of me. I let my father convince me that art wasn't a real career. Spent my life building this perfect image instead of being true to myself. Then I saw your talent, your courage to pursue what you love. So you left? Because I reminded you of your failures. I left because I couldn't bear to see you sacrifice your dreams like I did mine. He unwrapped the package, a sketchbook, filled with recent drawings. I've been doing therapy. Started drawing again. Trying to find my way back to who I was supposed to be. At what cost? My voice cracked. You destroyed our family. I know. He stood up, leaving the sketchbook on the step. The inheritance from your grandparents, it's more than enough for your college fund. You don't need my money anymore. This was never about money. No, he agreed. It was about truth. And mine is that I failed you. Not just when I left, but every day I pretended to be someone I wasn't. Every day I taught you that image matters more than authenticity. The wind carried the salt air, reminding me of childhood summers here. Of Dad teaching me to mix watercolors on the porch before he stopped drawing altogether. Grandpa's last letter, I said, told me that revenge is a circle that never closes. Dad nodded, tears in his eyes. He was right. I've been running in circles my whole life. I picked up the sketchbook, flipping through pages of familiar scenes, the beach house, Mom's garden, me at various ages. But these weren't copied from old drawings. These were new, raw, honest. I'm selling my practice, he said quietly. Moving somewhere smaller. Going to focus on reconstructive surgery for trauma patients. Try to do some actual good in the world. I thought about the RISD acceptance letter on my desk. About Mom's clinic, now secure thanks to my grandparents' legacy. About the weight of secrets and the cost of dreams deferred. I can't forgive you, I said. Not yet. I know. But. I held up the sketchbook. Maybe we can start drawing together again. Sometimes. He smiled, sad but genuine. I'd like that. As I drove home, I realized something about revenge and forgiveness. They're both forms of art. One destroys, the other creates. And like any artist, we have to choose which masterpiece we want to leave behind. I chose to create. 5 years passed like watercolors bleeding into each other. I graduated from RISD, opened my own gallery in Providence, and got engaged to Ethan. Mom's clinic thrived, and she started smiling again, real smiles that reached her eyes. Dad kept his word, sold his practice, moved to a smaller city, focused on reconstructive surgery for trauma victims. We met occasionally at the beach house, sharing coffee and sketchbooks, rebuilding something different from what we'd lost. Not better, not worse, just different. Today, I stood in my gallery's back room, staring at the centerpiece of my new exhibition, a large canvas showing the beach house at sunset. Painted in two distinct styles that somehow work together. Dad's precise lines merged with my looser strokes, creating something neither of us could have made alone. "It's beautiful," Mom said from behind me. She'd come for the opening, wearing the confidence that came with healing. "Your grandparents would have loved it." "Think so?" I touched the frame. Sometimes I wonder if they'd understand. About Dad, about everything. They understood more than we knew. She handed me an envelope, another letter from Grandpa, dated just before the accident. "Meant to be open today. Dear Callie," it read, "by now you've learned that revenge and forgiveness aren't opposites. They're two sides of the same coin. The real choice isn't between them, but between holding on and letting go. Your father is learning this. So are you. Love, Grandpa." The gallery doors opened. Dad walked in, grayer now but standing straighter. No designer suits anymore, just comfortable clothes and paint-stained fingers. "The prodigal father returns," I said, but without bitterness. He smiled, touching the painting's corner where our signatures intertwined. "I brought something for the exhibition." He pulled out a small, worn sketchbook. My first one. From medical school, before I let fear win. I opened it carefully. The pages were filled with anatomical drawings, but not cold medical illustrations. These captured the humanity in each subject, the curve of a mother's hand holding her child. The dignity in an elderly man's stance despite his injuries. "You could have been great," I said. "No," he replied, looking at our joint painting. "But you are. Because you chose truth over appearance. Courage over fear." He paused. "Everything I should have taught you, but had to learn from you instead." The gallery began filling with people. Ethan arrived, carrying champagne. Mom's new partner, a kind-eyed pediatrician, helped arrange the refreshments. Even Tessa came, now happily married to someone else, carrying her own creative dreams. "Ready?" Ethan asked, squeezing my hand. I looked at our gathered family, broken, rebuilt, expanded. At the paintings that told our story, Mom's clinic waiting room sketched in hopeful strokes, Grandma's garden in full bloom. Dad's new trauma center where art therapy helped patients heal. "Almost," I said, pulling out my current sketchbook. "One last thing." I added a final touch to our beach house painting, a small signature in the corner for ENW, who taught us that love is the finest art of all. Dad saw it and nodded, understanding. Mom wiped away tears. And I realized that revenge had never been the answer. The real masterpiece wasn't in destroying what hurt us, but in creating something new from the broken pieces. "Now I'm ready," I said, opening the gallery doors. Because sometimes the greatest art comes from our scars, and the finest galleries are built in the spaces between forgiveness and truth. Dad taught me that in the end. Not through his words or his failures, but through the courage to finally paint his own life honestly. And that's a lesson worth keeping.